Today on the Grid podcast, we talk about Horizon Forbidden West, the glorious return of Goldeneye, and Xbox is finally next gen. Stay tuned. Welcome guys to the On The Grid podcast. I'm here with Armando and I'm George.
Hi.
Today, episode number 10.
Yeah.
And so once again I ask this question.
What have
you
you
been
doing?
up to this week?
Yeah. I haven't played too many games. I've been working on the baby room.
Yeah, because it's coming this week. So maybe next week there won't be an episode because
As well.
This man is becoming a father again. So
Yeah. So working a lot on the baby room. I did play the DLC of Street of Rage.
Yeah, how was
Mr.
it?
X. To be honest, I was thinking there was some more story coming. But instead of story, there was just an extra game mode and a few game characters. So I finished the game again to see if something changed, but nothing changed.
oh man, that sucks. Isn't
Yeah.
it? But you get the new characters. Can you use them in the old levels or anything like that, or is it really specific to that DLC?
Yeah, so you have bosses in Street of Rage, and these bosses you unlock to play with them in the whole story mode. So,
Nice.
And
nice.
the thing that changes is that when you fight the specific bosses of the character that you play with, they become sort of purple ghosts when you fight against them.
Original.
Yeah, so fantastic. So the game is still really fun, but to be honest, I hope there was some grand story coming or some extra, something extra, but that didn't happen. So
Yeah, they were thinking like after 25 years, you were grateful you have another Street of Rage. So
Yeah.
don't ask for too much.
Don't ask too much.
Another 25 years, you will have your next Street of Rage game.
Then I can play with my just born kid and
Who is
have this-
25 then?
Who's 25 then, and then we can have another discussion, right?
Yeah.
So if I look into playing games, not too much happened. I think in the mod scene, it's worth noticing that some of the big famous mod products are flash cards, so cards that you can put into older consoles and play with SD cards, so you don't have to use your original cartridges and you can leave them in your storage, so they don't end up being broken or something. Most of these big flash cards are being released by a guy named Chris.
Yeah.
And this guy's from the Ukraine, so he's kind of in an issue right now.
Yeah, he has other problems on his head.
He has other problems
right
in his
now,
head right
so
now. So
all we can do is send our love and support.
Indeed, yeah. So
and hope they're safe.
Yeah, so that was worth mentioning. And next to that, I've just been looking around for more content for the channel. What one of my big loves is there's a brand name SNK. So for people that know a little bit about gaming, SNK is a company that released game consoles. In the 90s, that was the biggest moment they sold their consoles, and they released a console named the AES, and this is a console which is ridiculously expensive. So it was already ridiculously expensive back in the day, because I thought it was like 600 guildrons when you were able to buy this thing, and we're now guildrons. So now we're in this Euro zone, and the price didn't really change. So if you know the guildron, if you have something like 2 guildrons, you would have a euro. So if you understand that
250. Het is een knaak.
220.
Een knaak was een euro. Een knaak is een euro.
Yeah. So this console is now something like 700 or 800 euros to buy. So it's ridiculously expensive for people to buy. So I'm looking into this MVS system, and MVS is actually the sort of same console, but they use this one in the arcade halls. So they're selling these arcade boards, and I've already been looking into this for a long time with other YouTubers making their own MVSs or buying complete sets of MVS. So I'm really looking forward to buy an MVS and maybe even build a whole arcade cabinet next to this.
Yeah.
And the second thing I needed for that is a CRT TV. So I'm also looking into these big ass TVs. and see whatever I can score, which gives a nice screen for these arcade cabinets.
Yeah. Well, those TVs must be rare now because who buys a big ass huge refrigerator TV?
Yeah, well, I started searching for these TVs. I think a couple of days ago. So I went to some old, sort of secondhand store, and it smelled so bad there of old clothing. And I went into the back of this place where they had electronics, and the only thing they sold were old LCD TVs.
Yeah.
They didn't even have CRTs anymore. So I called my brother, and my brother also owns a CRT TV.
Yeah.
And they are famous for either CRT or Cube, because Tube, because it has a really big behind these TVs. And he said, yeah, it's pretty hard to find these things also in these secondhand stores. If you really want to have a TV like that, it's probably better to search on the internet like Marktplaats or eBay or any of this sort of secondhand places online. And indeed, there you can still get these TVs. So the best place to search for these things is just to go online and see if there's people around that have big ass CRT TVs.
People that didn't clean out their attic for a few decennia.
Or just still watching on these TVs, because these
are the people still watching on those TVs?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? You can't imagine.
You could always go to an old folks home and just ask
wait
if somebody
Die.
died.
Yeah. Yeah, so these they are still around, and it's funny because there are so many things that changed in the whole HDMI scene. Because now we have TVs that have only HDMI ports, and in older TVs you have composite, you have SCART connections, you have component cables, and all these different sort of connection types. You have to find somewhere in between a screen that has most of these techniques, but also have the right ratio, because you have 4.3 ratio.
Yeah.
You have what was the other one? 416 or 9:16?
460.
Well, that's when you have a widescreen monitor.
Yeah.
And the last made CRTs are all widescreen. And with these you also have the types of hertz, because the original consoles played on 50 and 60 hertz, and the newer CRTs also have 100 hertz. So yeah, it's a funny moment to message these people and ask for the IDs of the TVs, back photos of the connections they have. And finding out which is the golden standard in Europe, and
which you could actually use for the gaming.
Because what I'm curious about, there is one TV, they call them HD CRTs.
Yes.
And that's a TV with an HDMI port. So what I'm really curious about, what happens if you own a TV like this, and then connect a image recorder on this HDMI port while connecting a console, and what image this will give you.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. Of course, the channel that it's recording is just digital, but you probably see something way different than what you're seeing on screen. So if one of the viewers knows about this TV or has a CRT TV with HD possibility, so an HDMI port, please message us, and let's see if we can do something about this.
Let's make a deal.
Yeah, let's make a good deal for this one.
I'll make you an offer you get refused.
So yeah, that's what I was doing. So I'm more curious what you did, because it's probably more interesting with all the technical details what I did.
Well, it's really interesting. But I've been playing Sonic Racing, because that's a new PlayStation Plus free game of this month. So that came out yesterday. And since my son is a big Sonic fan, I had no choice but to play Sonic Racing.
Is this the same Sonic Racing that also released on the Switch?
Yes. It's Sonic Team Racing it is. Yeah. So you're in a team, then you have to, in the order you finish in with your team of 3, kind of determines your place. Overall place. So if you come in first but the other 2 come in last, you're not at first place, you'll go down in points.
Yeah.
So it's a real team effort.
What I'm curious about actually is, are you playing this together with your son? Like in split screen?
Well, there's a story mode, and so we kind of just pass the control along because you had to unlock some characters. So there's a few characters my son always wants. So let's get that done first. Otherwise, I know how it will go. It's like, oh no, Daddy, you do it, and then that's not how we roll.
That sounds familiar.
But let's do this together as a team. We will do this. So, well, you want to know about a good game?
Well, that's the main topic of today. So
let me sit for this because. In 2022, we had Fable.
Yeah.
In 2015, we had The Witcher 3. And in 2022, we have Horizon Forbidden West. God for it! Horizon Forbidden West. So it's amazing. And I mean, for if you didn't know, Horizon Forbidden West is a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. And
the title he loves.
The title I love. The title I keep confusing. So, but we're talking about Horizon Forbidden West. But in Horizon Zero Dawn, there was an spoilers for Horizon Zero Dawn. But if you haven't played it by now, I don't care. So Horizon Zero Dawn, you kind of there's an apocalypse and. Nobody could stop that apocalypse. So what they did is they built an AI to repopulate the Earth after everything is dead.
Yeah. I've been looking into this game, so I know something about this now.
Nice. So, but now in Horizon Forbidden West, I want to say Horizon Forbidden West 2 for some reason, but I'm going to call it Horizon from now on because I'll keep tripping over these words. So in Horizon 2, we're going to call it Horizon 2. In Horizon 2, you're searching for that AI that kind of got lost in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And that
Horizon 1.
Horizon 1. Yeah. That has all the programs needed to repopulate it because you have Gaia, that's the overall AI that controls 9 other AIs. 9 other. We got a 9. I'm gonna correct it if I'm wrong. 9 other AIs. You're kind of looking for it to reset because you notice the Earth is kind of degrading again. Yeah. And it's your job to find out what's actually happening. And Aloy, your main protagonist, has to go to the Forbidden West and to find out if Gaia could be restored and reset and what the hell is going on.
Yeah. And
for the main story, I'm kind of going to leave it at that. But the way they did the side quest is absolutely amazing. What I always talk about with The Witcher, how they make you feel like the world is still alive even when you're not in it.
Yeah.
That's what they were going for. Every character has his own story, kind of their own side quest. Sometimes I was walking around a few days ago. I was like, oh, there's a question mark on the map. So let me look at it. It was a little city and I got one mission and that one mission led into another one. And I got reeled into the whole political system. And in the end, they had made me choose who was going to become the leader of that tribe. And I was like, oh man, I actually put down the controller for a moment to really think, oh, but they both did something wrong. But yeah, you lied to your people, but you fucked everything up, but you didn't mean to. So, and you kind of try to learn the lesser of two evils. And then after that, after you played for a while again, you get to go back to that and see what the consequences are of that choice. Is he a good leader? Luckily for me, he was okay. He was okay. Yeah, well, it's like you have to follow the story until a certain point, and then the world opens up, and from that moment, it's like choose your own adventure. Yeah. You can go to the main story, or you can just do the side quests. And I'm one of those guys who likes wandering around, like, oh, what's over that mountain?
Yeah.
And
I know the feeling.
Yeah, and there's always something fun to find, and that's something that's really amazing about it. The gameplay is really addictive because you have to fighting humans. It's kind of basic, like in most other games. Like you make sure you look around, stealth kill, headshot, and that's satisfying for me always. So
But you have these huge ass creatures.
But then you have those huge ass creatures, and those at the start of it was like, oh man, yeah, I'm not gonna defeat it, and you kind of have to do some resource management. So at a certain point, I went into a cauldron, and you need to go in cauldrons or sort of dungeons
Yeah.
And these dungeons you can unlock override for the creatures in the world. So you can take them over and they will fight on your side for a certain amount of time. Or you could ride them.
You can ride them, right? Yeah.
Not all of them, but some are rideable. But so I went into the cauldron and I went down and some huge ass snake was there. And I was like, okay, let's do this. I was ready. And I looked at my arrows and I didn't have any wood left. No sticks. So I could barely fight him. Yeah. So I had to go into the inventory and look at what weapons I still had and kind of mix and match. And in that way I came across a few very good weapons. But because my bow and arrow always worked, I never really gave it a try. So this kind of forced me into using that style of gameplay. Yeah. And after that I was like, oh no, this is my favorite weapon now. I always use this. This is my go-to spear with the drill thingy. And
you can search for these items because every time that you kill a creature, it drops items that you can use. And what I read is that you can even shoot the equipment off this this creature, so you don't have to kill it, but actually save the stuff.
Well, yes, it's true. Sometimes you don't have to shoot it. That's like if you shoot it, it breaks. Yeah. And other things is if you kill it without shooting it off, it will break. Yeah. So you have to really look at what components you need. The really nice quality of life thing they did is that you can just go like, I want to upgrade my bow and arrow. And you can make it an active quest. And it will show you where those creatures are.
Oh, that's
so you can
nice.
go, and then when you scan them, you can even see at the parts like, this is for a quest, this part. So you can really plan ahead. So, and that's what I did. I was just like, okay, so I'm going to upgrade everything. So you also have to upgrade pouches, which allow you to carry more arrows or more bombs.
And do you have to pay literally every $1 that you have to upgrade this pouch?
No, it's actually pretty easy. It's
like, better than Pokemon.
It's oh yeah, and you get a lot more. A lot of times I was just walking around and then you see like I had to find some owls and I couldn't find no owls and I was like, also live in the night, so let me waste some time and just go there back in the night. And they were full of us, and then you have to hunt them, and then they also have all those ingredients you need, like skin, feathers, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and that's not really. It's very simple to go hunting for animals because they don't fight back.
Yeah.
But somehow it's really satisfying because if you really don't like, I don't want to do the story. I just want something to cool down. Just 10 minutes to kill, I'll just do that.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's like, but now I'm like at the start of the story, all my powers are fully upgraded. I have purple weapons because I've been doing a lot of side quests because those stories were so much fun. So every time I'm in a side quest, I want to know what's happening with this person. Is this person gonna be alright? And the way they evolve the storytelling is really amazing. And the main story, the twists and turns that are in there, I haven't finished it yet, but if they can stick the landing, I would be. This would be The Witcher 3 for me then.
Ooh.
It's still early, but the way I'm looking at it now, it's got everything I love about the game. I mean,
well, he already recorded stuff, and he also made a whole game review for it. So I'm not sure if we should mention anything more because otherwise we say something that you want to mention in the review.
No, I've been very careful not to mention a few things I really wanted to say for the review.
Okay, perfect.
So at the moment I'm still writing the review because I haven't finished the game, so there's still a little bit to be done.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing. I can't wait for you to play it when you have time.
I'm actually going to play it because
God.
I know it's hard to believe, but I've been looking into this thing and I already owned the first game as well, so I thought like let's make the whole saga
that's nice.
Complete.
Oh, so that's nice.
I'm not sure when yet because there's a lot to happen here, but
you can feed your baby and play at the same time.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
I still have pictures with George when I'm gaming with him just on my knees. Him. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. Or do you still
we
something
can still talk about some news items.
Oh shit, I forgot about it. Yeah?
Yeah, so we're going to the news items.
News items.
Yeah, so it's hard to beat, of course, the whole Horizon story, but there's also a couple of news items which are worth mentioning. And one of the things that I really liked was the whole Goldeneye story, and it's strange.
What is the Goldeneye story? Because you haven't told me and I haven't read it. So
yeah, Yeah, so Goldeneye is one of the top first-person shooter games of the Nintendo 64. And after Rare got bought by Microsoft, they didn't have any option to release any more GoldenEye stuff. So the issue that they had was that Microsoft wanted to release a GoldenEye. So they literally built a GoldenEye. And that was for the Xbox 360. They never released it, though. It got leaked.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo didn't want to release it. Because
licensing?
Xbox... Yeah, so there's a part of the licensing is with Rare, of course.
Yeah.
But another part of the licensing is with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because it's an original, official Nintendo 64 game. The same happened to Diddy Kong Racing, because Diddy Kong Racing has characters from Nintendo and from Rare. Yeah. So the issue is that they never really were able to release an after version of this. So there was some news popping up that there was a GoldenEye version for the Xbox Series or One, because you can play it as well on your Series X as on your Xbox One. That a version of GoldenEye was coming to the Xbox. And I was just curious about this, what happened. So for some reason, probably, because we'll probably see it soon after it's being released, Nintendo and Microsoft are going to release a GoldenEye version, because
that's nice.
Nintendo has the issue that they are trying to find people that want to pay the full price for their online network. And if you take this subscription, then you can play a couple of Sega Genesis games, and you can play some N64 games. Yeah. But there is no GoldenEye, which is, of course, a problem for them, because they have their top games in this batch of games that you're able to play. And I think that GoldenEye was the best-selling N64 game on the N64, or at least one of the best-selling games. So now, for some reason, they found a way to both satisfy each other. They released on the Xbox, and they released on Nintendo. So it's finally, this licensing deal is finally...
that's actually pretty cool.
It only took more than 25 years, but who gives it?
Hey! 25 years. What's 25 years?
Yeah, it's almost like releasing another Street of Rage game.
But it's kind of funny that after 25 years they're gonna release it, and GoldenEye is one of those games, from my youth I really remember well, but it's kind of, my memory made it better than it is. So I'm kind of wondering how good
it's good that you mentioned this, because the funny thing is they're not going to release that version that they made on the Xbox 360. No, they're going to release the N64 version.
That's not good.
Which is a shame, because if you have a modified Xbox 360 and you've played GoldenEye, that was freaking cool. That was a really good version, and it gave you that feeling that you had in your head.
Yeah.
That's actually the Xbox 360 version, because the original version, it was really hard to move, because you didn't have two joysticks.
You only had one analog, so you couldn't really move anything. So
you had to move with your yellow C
with
buttons.
the yellow buttons. And for the time it was okay, because you didn't know any better. But since Halo, I mean, they kind of put on a new standard. So what I'm
actually curious about is if they release it on the Nintendo Switch, then you know right away that they're not going to put any effort in this game. You just have this 16:9 ratio and nothing else. But Xbox will probably, or hopefully, release it by a 16:9 ratio. Nintendo will probably just release it by a 4:3 ratio, just as all the other games that they released on the Nintendo Switch. So I'm really curious if this actually is going to be released. And how they're going to release this, because if it's being released on a 16:9 ratio, it's actually fun to play on a big screen. But the Switch games that I've been playing by this 4:3 ratio, I think it sucks. Yeah. Especially if you relaunch these games, you have to pay a pretty decent amount of money to play these games, and then you play them in a sort of sucky way.
And it's kind of, it's for that generation, it's kind of hard for those games to actually hold up if you were used to playing games now. So it's mostly nostalgia factor. Yeah. So I mean, they have to make a step our way, like, okay,
well,
just release it, but
It's probably nice to make a comparison video afterwards to be
Yeah.
able to show the Switch version and to also show the Xbox 360 version, because I think that you're gonna like this one, because what's funny is that there's a huge community around these games. So for instance, there were people on the Half-Life engine or CS engine, it's the same thing. They made a complete modded Goldeneye version where you have literally all the possibilities of a Counter-Strike game, but then in the whole Goldeneye scene. So they already created the perfect Goldeneye games, but they were never hugely playable for a lot of audience. So it's really funny to see the differences between these games.
Oh, nice. Especially with the community version would be fun to look at it as well, because those are the fans who made it. So
and fans most of the time spend more time and detail
and
into-
love, pure
and
love. I mean, yes,
in these games than the original developers do. So yeah, let's see what Rare made out of this, or if they didn't do anything actually, because they could just release it and just wait for the perfect timing. So yeah, that was something that I read about the whole GoldenEye thing.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice. I'm really looking forward to that because, yeah, like I said, nostalgia.
Yeah, and to keep this whole Xbox thing around, Xbox, yeah, they didn't really make a big story out of it, but they released some sort of package, and this package will be able to be used by developers for as well the Xbox Series S and the X.
Yes.
And well, we talked about this in the past already, but for some reason with this package, we'll get next gen. So what this means is they made some extra possibilities that the Xbox will have between 15 and 30% better graphics than a PlayStation 5. But of course, this is something I just want to see. I'm just curious what this actually.
Then you need to show the games and what it actually entails.
Yeah.
Because I think like if they come out with at Summer Game Fest a show of like one new game really making use of this, like this is what you have extra, then I can believe it, because he just spent a half hour explaining it to me. I was like, but what and how? And
yeah, that's probably the reason why they also didn't make a big fuss about this, because it's something that's more for developers than actually for the gamer. But it's funny to see that they finally did something like this, because we already discussed this a couple of times, that we think that next gen at the moment is not really next gen, because everything is being released on either the PlayStation 4 or the One S and the One X.
Yes, and both Xbox and PlayStation need to put more effort in their first party. Not talking about the Horizon. More effort in their first party titles, just to make use of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, like to really show us what those consoles can do, and not get held back by previous generation consoles.
Yeah, and March of course just started, and well, that means that we have like 2 or 3 months, and E3 will slowly be coming, or other game events.
Yeah, the Summer Game Fest, my friend. The Summer Game Fest. That's the new name.
Oh, sorry. So let's see if we get some actual game footage then, and let's see if they can actually put their money where their mouth is, and show us that next gen is really next gen.
It's starting now.
Yeah, it's starting now.
I'm really looking forward to this year's E3 Summer Game Fest, because I think this is the year both PlayStation and Xbox are really gonna need to show it, like what those consoles really can do. And
other news items you have to mention?
Yes, I have another news item. That's about CG. I don't know the name of the studios, so. Do you know the name of the new studio?
The new studio that they started. I did read the article actually, but
I did too. But it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, indeed, it was 2 weeks ago.
So, but I'm gonna put it up here, right here, the name of the new studio.
Yeah.
So the developers of The Witcher and Cyberpunk, some people left and created their own new studio, and they're gonna focus on dark fantasy RPGs.
Yeah, which I think is a really good thing.
I'm so happy.
And the reason why I think it's a good thing is we don't have too many game developers around which create games lately, which are not remakes, and which is actual new content that people actually spend time and money in a game and love, a lot of love. And CD Projekt Red is known for making games that are really high maintenance.
Yeah, high maintenance. It made one game of the year and it made one barely functioning game.
Yeah.
So.
But they do spend a lot of time and love in these games, and it's fantastic to read when the game studio still exists, but they also have another game studio which is going to focus on different games. So the more game studios there are with a lot of love and time, the better it is.
Yeah, I think so too, especially since they're both gonna make kind of the same game, because The Witcher is dark fantasy, and so they have some competition. Yeah. And I think that's always a good thing, because...
And they don't need money. That's also a good thing, because I read this in this article, is that there were a lot of investors that were interested in putting money into the studio.
Yeah.
But they just said, like, it's funny and it's nice to know that there's a lot of people that want to spend money in this, and this is something that we're going to think about clearly in the next coming weeks, but we don't really need it, actually, because we have enough money to make a game. And that's fantastic, because when somebody says this, they don't have some big corporate guy breathing up their necks like, you have to release it. You have to release it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if it's finished, yes or no. You have to release it now, and that's good. So,
yeah, and it kind of tells you that they have a clear vision of what the game is what they want the game to be. So I think that's always a good thing. And I think it's just wait and see, and it's always good to have some new studios with games that, particularly like dark fantasy, is particularly something I really like. So for me, it's only good news.
Yeah, so let's see what they are going to release in the next couple of years, and if it actually holds up to a game studio.
6 years.
Yeah, you never know how much time they need to actually release the game.
It's gonna come around the same time like Elder Scrolls 6 and what's that other game that's taking forever?
Street of Rage.
So well, Street of Rage is gonna take forever, but that doesn't have to take forever. And while I'm stalling for time to think of the other game, nothing's happening.
Yeah. Well,
so
then we're
gonna do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it.
It's the end of the episode.
This was episode number 10. Everybody who's watching and been supporting us, thank you so very much. That's Armando. I'm George.
And we'll see you next week.
Unless he has a baby.
Unless I have a baby.
Bye.
Bye-bye.